Hi, if you don't already know me, my name's Destiny Smith, and today I want to talk to you about the most important pieces of communication. Right now, your communication might look a little bit like this slide, but I hope by the end of my presentation I can teach you to use communication that looks more like this slide. So if you haven't already watched it, those are clips from Inside Out 1 and 2. Inside Out 2 just came out. I went and watched it in Branson actually on vacation, and I really recommend it. I know that it's a Pixar movie for kids, but I'm 17 years old and I loved it. So it's a great movie and I'm not going to spoil it, but I would definitely recommend it. So the important parts that you need to know for this conversation is that joy is one emotion and anxiety is another. And they disagree on what they should do for Riley, the main character of the movie. And so they're trying to get their point across to each other and to the other emotions, but they're only appealing to themselves when they're talking. They're not appealing to each other, and so they're not listening and hearing each other. And so they're not getting their point across. They should be focusing on their audience, which would be each other and the other emotions, but instead they're just focusing on themselves and what they would want to hear and what they want to say. So their point's not getting across, and they're not getting anywhere for Riley. And so this is an example of we versus me orientation. I think that this is the most important part of communication. Joy and anxiety are an example of me orientation. This means that when they're talking, they're not trying to appeal to their audience, they're just appealing to themselves. And a good speaker would use we orientation, meaning that they're appealing to their audience to get their point across rather than to themselves. Great ways to use we orientation would be to change the words you use or the way you talk, the language that you're using, so that your audience can understand and so that you're being interesting to your audience and catching their attention and keeping it. And so I think that we orientation is the most important part of communication because it's the basis of a speech or of communication. If you're using me orientation and focusing on yourself, no matter how good your speech is or how good your point is, it's never going to get across because you're not appealing to your audience and they're not listening. So, in conclusion, I think that we orientation is the most important piece of communication, and I challenge you to focus more on your audience and what they would want to hear and what you need to say to grab their attention and keep it than what you want to say and what sounds the best to you in your next speech. Thank you.